Hey everybody, welcome back and thanks for joining me. My name is Sean Nelson, Advanced Sommelier and founder of Somm Wine Club. And what I've got for you today is the 2021 Domäne Wachau Terrassen Smaragd Grüner Veltliner. That's a mouthful. Now, I've had Grüner Veltliner in the box for the wine club a couple of times, but I've never had a Smaragd. So I'm going to start there. In the Wachau, where Domäne Wachau is located, there are three tiers of ripeness that they've used to classify Grüner Veltliner and Riesling, which are the two classic white varieties of the Wachau. So Steinfeder is the entry level quality and lowest ripeness level. Then you have Federspiel above that, and then at the very top of the pyramid you have Smaragd. Smaragd means emerald in German, and it's the name given to the European green lizard that lives native in Hungary and eastern Austria and Slovakia. So Smaragd is basically emerald lizard. Now, Domäne Wachau is one of the most prestigious producers in the Wachau, if not in all of Austria. They were founded in 1714, and they're the only estate that I was able to find that actually produces a single parcel wine from all of the high prestigious classic reeds or single vineyards of the Wachau region, so Achleiten, Single-Riedel, and the like. It's currently run by Roman Horvath, Master of Wine, and Heinz Frischengruber, and they are, like I said, a highlight representative of the Wachau region. I visited in 2018 when I was in Austria. The estate is beautiful. What they're doing in the Wachau is impressive and noteworthy, and so I wanted to share one of these wines with everybody. The Terrassen series means terraces. Terraces on the north bank of the Danube River, which the Wachau follows. You have these ancient Roman terraces that kind of work their way up these incredibly steep hills. The Terrassen series was created to blend together small parcels of these terrace vineyards that are not big enough to produce a wine on their own. So this is a blend of small terraced parcels between the towns of Spitz and Leuben on the north bank of the Danube River. 2021 vintage, and of course Grüner Veltliner, the classic icon white grape variety all-star of Austria. Let's taste. What I love about Smaragd. Now, even though climate change has changed the expression of the grape varieties in these places, the minimum ripenesses that they use for Steinfeder, Federspiel, and Smaragd are really not that useful for classifying anymore. The minimum alcohol for Smaragd, the highest level of ripeness, is only 12.5% alcohol. Now, 50 years ago, when grapes didn't really fully get ripe all the time, Smaragd was something legendary. It was a perfect vintage where everything coincided to make perfectly ripe and these like beautifully robust grapes. Now, almost every vintage is going to get that way. So producers have had to differentiate elsewise to make sure that there's a difference between Federspiel and Smaragd. So typically these grapes are harvested a little bit later just to try and develop a little bit more complexity and depth of flavor. I get lots of kind of underripe stone fruit. You're looking like peach and apricot. There's some Anjou pear, ripe kind of yellow pear here, ripe citrus like orange, tangerine, orange blossom, honeysuckle, floral character. In lower level ripenesses of Grüner Veltliner, I find a little bit more of a green, grassy, almost herbal character to it, which there's less of in this style of Grüner. There is still a little bit of this white pepper undertone of slightly green, but it's definitely not the major characteristic once you get into the Smaragd level of ripeness. I think the thing to pay attention to that's almost more differentiating is texture, is mouthfeel, is the way that this wine feels when you actually taste it. Because it explodes. into this beautifully round, fuller bodied, robust, textured white wine. Uh, you smell and you're like, oh, this is very light and pretty, and then you taste it and you're like, this wine is like an iron fist in a velvet glove for whites. So much richness balanced with elegance. This wine still has plenty of acidity, freshness, and vibrancy, but it is rich and round and textured and almost creamy, but not in a creamy like when you think about creamy, you think about Chardonnay, you think about that like buttery creamy. This is not that. This is just mouth-fillingly creamy. There's so much potential with food for Grüner Veltliner, going from the lightest up to the richest. Your food choices are going to change. You'd stick to shellfish and lighter things on the lighter side of the Grüner Veltliner scale. In Federspiel, you can kind of bridge the gap between lighter seafood dishes, river perch, oysters, mussels, and then into richer things like roast chicken or roast pork, schnitzel. With this, I love the richness, but also the acidity and the balance. So you can do like a hearty brunch style dinner for this. Do a quiche with leeks and asparagus and Gruyere, Swiss cheese. You get this fattiness from it. Grüner Veltliner is one of the only grape varieties that works really well with these very challenging flavors like artichokes, asparagus, eggs, leeks, things that have otherwise like a clashing effect on some white wines and definitely reds. Or hit up a plate of giant schnitzel. There's nothing wrong with Grüner Veltliner and schnitzel. In fact, it's one of the most iconic pairings that exists within Austria. Pork chops, like with apricot or peach. If you have some preserves from earlier this year when we had this beautiful fruit harvest in the Okanagan, you get all of that density of fruit. Turn it savory and make like a glaze or a jus out of it, and then you have a punch of flavor with this backbone of savory on top of something meaty and rich with fat and vegetables. Oh, so many options. It's not surprising that Grüner Veltliner ends up being kind of like a sommelier's secret weapon for food and wine pairings because it has almost infinite flexibility when it comes to food and wine. Big yes from me. I am, like I said, stoked to finally be able to share one of Domäne Wachau's wines with everybody in one of the wine club boxes. Thank you for coming and watching, and thank you for enjoying this wine. If you have questions about Austrian wines, about Domäne Wachau, about how this kind of unique grape variety exists all on its own, please do reach out and we can talk about Grüner because I'm a big fan. So thanks very much. Enjoy, and we'll see you all next time.